Outside of work, we all have our own hobbies, interests, and pastimes, be that art, music, camping, sports, or surprisingly popular in 2020 is demonstrating to all and sundry that you're thick as shit by posting wildly unfounded conspiracy theories all over social media. But one activity I've never really understood is naturism. Naturists insist it's a healthy lifestyle choice, embracing nature and such like, and we're given the impression that naturist camps are full of people merrily frolicking around the swimming pool or playing volleyball and generally acting like it's 1953. And although I suspect for the vast majority of people this is an entirely innocent pursuit, I suspect there are one or two unsavoury types who simply want to wander around shaking their John Thomas at strangers. But if there are people who feel compelled to display their genitals to others, as long as they're consenting adults, then that's fair enough. But some naturists insist on bringing their children along, and to be honest, I find that somewhat uncomfortable. The British Naturist Society says that checks are made and all of its members are vetted to check they're not on the sex offenders register. But I have a couple of issues with this because, first of all, the register only covers the perverts who've already been caught, and secondly, I can't think of any other hobby where this check would be required. Although thinking about it, you would need to be checked if your hobbies included being a scoutmaster, a kids' football coach, or doing unpaid work for the BBC. But it's not like you join a book club or audition for a rock band to be told, see you next week, provided you're not a kiddie fiddler. I used to be a youth worker, so I've had plenty of CRB checks. But I think there's a different dynamic between checking someone's okay to be around children and vulnerable adults and carrying out the same check knowing full well that person will be around children with their dick out. And although naturist sites mostly consist of chubby middle-aged women trying not to hit their own tits with tennis rackets while they're playing swing ball, these days we all carry an HD recording device. And it only takes one wrong 'un. So why am I banging on about naturism? Well, it's because there's been a furious backlash about an event that was due to take place right here in Stoke-on-Trent. The local water park is in truth just a swimming pool with a couple of water slides going into it. And although I've lived here for 15 years, I've never been because it is horrendously overpriced. A mate of mine recently went with his 2 children, so an adult and 2 children, and he was charged £60. That's around $85 to go swimming for an hour. The controversial event is called the Naked Swim, and this was due to be open to all naturists, including families with young children. Now, I've never been to one of these events, so I can only go by what I've read online. But they take place all over the country, and apparently the majority of attendees are middle-aged single men. Does that sound suspicious? The British Naturist Society were keen to point out that these events have safety marshals to check nothing untoward is going on. But doesn't that make it sound worse? Having to employ someone to check that no one is touching up the women or wanking in the shallow end. And who applies for a job like that?
I walk around the swimming pool, staring at all the naked people to check there aren't any weirdos.
But now the Naturist Society has buckled under pressure and the event is only open to over 18s. Good. But I'm confused as to why anyone would have been so insistent on wanting to swim au naturel anyway. Because when swimming, people are pretty much undressed anyway. The only parts that need to be covered up are the parts that can't be shown on television before 9 o'clock at night. So anyone who wants to desperately go swimming with their gentleman vegetables on display, well, that says a lot about them. And if women go down water slides without bikini bottoms on, wouldn't they be in danger of filling up? Like those things used on aeroplanes to put out forest fires. So if there are adults who feel the need to spend their spare time wandering about stark bollock naked in the wind, in the pissing rain, because this is Britain after all, then that's fair enough. But bringing their kids into it, for me, that's not okay, because sadly, there are sick bastards on the loose in society and we're not allowed to kill them. But if you're a straight man, I guess the best thing about being a naturist is that when you're at the nudist site, you can go out in the evenings without the missus taking 3 hours to decide what to wear. Thanks for watching.